Every year, Mark Dawson's self-publishing Launchpad opens up for a short period for self-published authors like myself to buy into and learn how to sell their books. I am a student of that course. I took it in 2015 in its original iteration, and every year people ask me, is it any good? Well, I'll tell you what, as somebody who's sold over 69,000 copies of my books, made over $290,000 in royalties, I can tell you. Stay tuned. Hi guys, it's me, and I'm making a quick video, as I do pretty much every year, about Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing 101, which is now called Self-Publishing Launchpad. It is a course for self-published authors which teaches you the basics of how to successfully publish your book in a way that it stands a good chance of being commercially successful, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? And I'm a student of that course. We are talking way back now, back in 2015, when there was only one course. It was called Self-Publishing 101 or something like that. I paid the price for it. It was about $500 then. I took Mark Dawson's course in its entirety because I wanted to be a successful self-published author. And what can I say? Since then, I have gone on to sell 69,000 copies of my books, reach more than 320,000 readers on Kindle Unlimited. I have made $293,000 in royalties. So I'm not where I want to be in my writing career, because where I want to be in my writing career is probably Ernest Hemingway's house in Florida or something like that. But no, I have definitely achieved a certain level of success in my writing career that many self-published authors and aspiring authors would like to achieve. And how did I get there? I'd be lying if I said Mark Dawson's courses weren't a massive part of that. I've learned over the years, since I've been self-publishing, I first started self-publishing in 2013, that anyone can be a successful self-published author. What you need to do is learn the craft of writing and then follow the process for successful self-publishing. And Mark Dawson's courses teach you the process for successful self-publishing. There are two of them now. There's Ads for Authors, which tells you how to advertise your books on social media. And there's the one that's open right now, which is called the Self-Publishing Launchpad. It used to be called Self-Publishing 101, and it was kind of like a 101 introduction into self-publishing. Now it's called Launchpad, which is a really good name for it, because it's about writing a book, publishing it, and launching it. Because launching a book is where you become successful or don't become successful. It can make all the difference. It can change your life. And I know that from personal experience, because I took Mark Dawson's courses in 2015. It wasn't until 2018 that I hit a level of success, but boy, did I hit it. So back in July 2018, I published this book. I wrote romance books, by the way. This was the 11th full-length book that I'd written. It was the first one that was ever a bestseller, and it literally changed my life. So until that time, I started self-publishing in 2013. I took Mark Dawson's course in 2015. By 2018, I was working really hard at it, really passionate about being a self-published author. I had written 11 full-length novels and published them, and achieved a certain level of success. My previous book had been this one, No Way Out, and I decided I was going to write motorcycle romance stories, because I love writing romance stories. And when you write romance stories, you get to write the exciting action-adventure stories that us guys like, but you write them in the framework of a romance story. It makes the book better overall, and also it gives it a real chance to be commercially successful. So at that point, in July 2018, this was my most recent book, and I was making, wait for it, $50 a day from this book. I was like, wow, imagine that. And when you first start out self-publishing, to get $50 a day, people, $50 a day that you're earning from a book you published seems amazing. And I was like, I'm on the right track. If I want to make 10 grand a month, I need like $300 a day. So I'm there. I just need to publish 6 more books like that. And what I did was I wrote this one and I published it. And I followed the process for successful self-publishing. That is the process that I learned in Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing 101. And now it's got a Self-Publishing Launchpad. I'll talk about that in a sec. And so when I'd finished writing this book, I got it edited, I designed the covers, I made it all look nice, and then I launched it. And what happened that was different was, instead of launching a book and it becoming moderately successful and making me $50 or something a day, this book just exploded. I remember so vividly, because it's one of my most important life memories, waking up a couple of days after I published this book and checking my figures on Book Report, expecting it to be like, you've earned $20 for the day so far, because it was breakfast or something. And it said, you've earned $100 so far. And I was like, what? And as the day went on, the amount rose and rose and rose. And I realized I was making, well, my best day in that first month was $615 in royalties from this book in a day. And that continued like every single day. It was around like $500 for a month. And the next month it was like $300. Basically, it changed my life because, yeah, I went from being a struggling self-published author who was just doing it out of the passion for the thing to writing a book, publishing it, and suddenly it's like, wow, I earned in the months that this book got released more than I've earned from any job I've ever had ever. And you know, I'm an executive, a professional, so I've had some pretty decent jobs. Yeah, this book exploded and it changed my life, and it made me realize that being a self-published author, making a good 6-figure income from writing is entirely possible. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without Mark Dawson's self-publishing course. So back then, as I said, it was self-publishing 101. Now it's self-publishing Launchpad, and it taught me what I needed to do to launch a book, and that's why this book succeeded. It's all about the launch of books. You write your book, that's great. You get your book edited, you put it together really nicely in its formatting, and you put it up on Amazon for sale. If you just put a book for sale, you know, you'll get 1 or 2 people buying it, maybe, if they see it. Your books are pretty much invisible on Amazon unless you market them. But the benefit of Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing 101 course, and well, his Launchpad course, is it teaches you how to launch a book by getting the categories and the keywords right, by setting up the pre-orders, by getting reviews from your ARC, your advanced reading copy groups. So your book is in the best possible shape it can be to be publicized and attract people to come and buy it. And that's exactly what worked with this book. It's not rocket science. As I said, anyone can be a successful self-published author. You need to learn the craft of writing and follow the process of successful self-publishing. The process for successful self-publishing was no different than the one I'd used for this. It's just when you pair the process, the tactics that you learn from self-publishing Launchpad with a really good concept for a book. Because don't mind saying, this book, if you want your steamy romance, this is a really strong concept. If you pair that process that you learn with self-publishing 101, self-publishing Launchpad, with a really good book, it can change your life, and it can send a book straight up into the stratosphere. And I know that because I wrote this book and published it, and I was like, holy crap, this book is doing really well, making like $500 a day consistently. I wrote another one within the month, Beauty and the Biker Boss, and I launched it using Mark Dawson's Launchpad tactics, and it was equally successful. And the next book that I published was pretty successful. The thing is, you have to write a good book. You have to write a good book. I mean, if you write a solid book, it's going to be fairly successful. But if you write a really good book and use the tactics and develop the strategies that Mark Dawson has in his self-publishing Launchpad, it can be prodigiously successful. And the thing that really gets me is, if I hadn't learned what I learned from Mark Dawson's course about just the basic stuff, like, you know, how to use keywords and how to publish your book so it's actually seen and put it in the right places, and also the less obvious things like how to develop an ARC group, how to develop a mailing list, a subscriber group. These are really, really important things to know that you can't, it would take you years to learn off the top of your head, to actually learn through experimentation. It would take years and cost you thousands of dollars. But what you can do is get all of that knowledge and apply it to the books that you wrote, and just bypass years of struggle, of trial and error, and put your book in as good a position as it can to be successful. And when it is successful, it can be massively successful. Your mileage will vary. So yeah, I wouldn't have been nearly as successful as I have been without Mark Dawson's Launchpad. But, self-publishing Launchpad. When they change names, it gets so confusing. I've been out there for such a long time. But I'll tell you this. I took Mark Dawson's Launchpad course in 2015, and it wasn't until 2018, which is like 3 years later, I'm not good at math, before I actually wrote a successful book. Because what you learn through Mark Dawson's self-publishing Launchpad is everything you need to make your book successful. But you have to have a book that has the potential to be successful. You have to write a good book. That is the most important thing. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to duck down and get it because I dropped it. This book, I'm a bloody good writer. I'm not going to lie. But in some ways, it's not even just how good the book is. The book needs to obviously be good enough for people to enjoy it. But it's not even how good the book is. It's more how strong the concept and execution of the book is. I mean, you look at successful books like the Twilight series. People always make fun and talk down about the Twilight series, but they were massively successful. The writing was good enough that you could follow the story and, get swept up in the story, but it was the concept that was so strong. You look at, talking about Twilight fan fiction that was 50 Shades of Grey. The writing, not necessarily particularly strong, but the concept of it was really, really strong and resonated with people, and that's why the book was so successful. So if you can come up with a really strong concept for a book, and you learn the craft of writing, so you can execute that concept, so people enjoy reading it, they get swept up in the story, and then you apply what you learn in the self-publishing Launchpad to that book, you have the potential to be massively successful. But you have to take that responsibility on yourself. The self-publishing Launchpad course teaches you everything you need to know, but it's up to you to actually execute it. It's up to you to write a book that's good enough to be successful. And it's up to you to apply yourself to follow through all the steps of Mark Dawson's Launchpad course. But if you do, you will be successful. And all you have to do is look at Mark Dawson to know that. That's the thing I think that really makes Mark Dawson's courses stand out. I mean, I've got a course that I put together called So You Published a Book on Amazon, Now What? There are tons of other authors who've done that. There's almost like this subsect of authors who I'm now trying to distance myself from, who they write a few books and then they think they're going to make more money from selling courses about how to sell books than their books. And that should be a warning sign, to be honest. My course is pretty solid, but I realized after I did it, it's like, if you're a really good writer, you should be making your money from writing, not making your money from courses about writing. Now, Mark Dawson is able to say that because Mark Dawson has sold over 4 million copies of his books. And right now, the first book in his Atticus Priest series, which is his third or fourth series, I think, is part of the Richard and Judy Book Club, which is like the Oprah Book Club, except in the UK. And it's a big, big deal. His book he's a self-published author, and his book's there in W.H. Smith, alongside Anthony Horowitz's new James Bond book. I mean, he's hit the big time as a self-published author. So you know that the stuff that you are going to learn in self-publishing Launchpad comes from somebody who has launched a career where his book is now right alongside the latest James Bond book and other books selected by Richard and Judy, who are it's difficult to explain Richard and Judy to non-British people, but they're kind of a big deal. So yeah, I would say if you are thinking about getting the self-publishing Launchpad, if you're thinking of investing in that, before you do, it's not the course you need to spend a lot of time studying, because that really has everything you need. It's you. You have to decide whether you are willing to make that commitment to write a book that is good enough to be successful. And if you are, then you can achieve a lot more, a lot faster by investing in Mark Dawson's self-publishing Launchpad. If what I've just said is in any way useful to you, I would say, hey, do me a solid. I've got a link down there to Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing Launchpad, use that link to buy the course rather than just go straight to his website, I get a little piece of the action, and I would really appreciate it. And that's why I make videos like this every year, because I want to tell people the truth about this course. I want to tell people my experience with the course. I have been pretty successful thanks to Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing Launchpad course. So I have that as like credibility for why I am talking about this course and why I believe in this course. So yeah, do me a solid, use that link down below to buy it. I would really, really appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, if you do so, just to sweeten the deal, I mentioned earlier that I made a course myself. It's called, so you've self-published a book on Amazon, now what? And originally I designed it as the course to fill in all the blanks that weren't there in the first iteration of Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing 101 course. Over the years, he's developed the course. This is the great thing. You get lifetime access. So in 2015, I bought the course for full price. And even though he has updated it every single year, I can still go in and get full access to the latest course. You get lifetime access. And these days, all of the stuff that I designed my course for, because I didn't think his course included it, which is really about putting together your book in a way that people wanted to buy it, because it's very easy to follow all the steps, but you really need to have that concept, that execution, that thing that is going to make people want to click the buy now button. I'm digressing a bit, but if you decide to buy Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing Launchpad course and you use my link down there below, I will give you free access to my course. So you've self-published a book on Amazon, now what? And you might find that valuable. I mean, a lot of the stuff I think is now covered in Mark Dawson's course. Maybe some of the stuff that I think is valuable is worded differently in my way that would resonate with you. I don't know. But I normally retail this course for $99. I'll give it to you for free. And hopefully the combination of the two is going to be what you need for your self-publishing career to just skyrocket. Anyone can be a successful self-published author. You just have to learn the craft of writing and follow the process for successful self-publishing. Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing 101, Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing Launchpad. I keep forgetting that they changed the name. Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing Launchpad gives you the process for successful self-publishing. The book, the concept, the execution of the concept, that's all up to you. But if you believe in yourself and if you're willing to do the work, then there is nothing stopping you, and you can just leapfrog years by really taking the time to go through all of the hours of course material that Mark and his team put together for you. So, I don't know. That's what I've got to say on the subject. If you've taken the course and you've seen success, let me know in the comments section down below. And yeah, that's it. But I truly do believe that. I truly do believe that anyone can be a successful self-published author. You just need to learn the craft of writing and follow the process of successful self-publishing. So if you want to be a successful self-published author, and I mean like having your own, making a living from writing and self-publishing books, you can do that. You can do that now with more certainty than at any other point in human history. And Mark Dawson's Self-Publishing Launchpad is one of the tools you can do to help you achieve that quicker and better than you would on your own. So there we go. Hopefully this video has been useful to you. If you decide to buy the course, if you don't decide to buy the course, I don't know. I wish you the best of luck with your self-publishing career though, because you know what? Writing is an incredible thing, and whatever it is that you have to say, whatever it is that is calling you to put pen to paper or fingertips to keyboard, do it, because the world needs to hear what you have to say. And with that, I will leave you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Cheers. I'm Roland Hume. I've sold 67,000 copies of my books. If you want to find out how I did it, I've got the link right here you can click. And otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. I've got more videos coming soon. Thank you.